that stands before us speaks to the reader figuratively of individuals who disable and disarm themselves of success and victory. I'm just prefacing before I talk to Jesus and the man. Because of some external circumstance and condition, we don't ever become what God would have us to be. We fall short of our potential and never realizing our dreams or achieving our goals or either meeting objectives to do that which we need to do, to enjoy prosperity and live the abundant life, simply because we are so quick to make excuses. We dismiss ourselves from being and doing by always finding some excuse as to why I can't and why we don't. Look, we would be further along in our lives if we would stop making excuses, pointing blame, feeling sorry for oneself. My brothers and sisters, most people are guilty of doing this kind of thing. We look at what other people are doing, and instead of us doing our purpose, following through with our assignment, we give up. We do not accept responsibility either, and we do not admit that we are at fault. Instead of admitting that I'm at fault and then accepting responsibility, we make excuses. Well, look at somebody and tell them excuses are nothing new. Excuse making can be traced back to Genesis chapter 3. I believe it's verse 12, if you will. God asked Adam, and he had eaten the tree, and Adam created the world's first excuse. The woman you gave me. She gave of the tree, and I did what? And then when God asked Eve what she had done, she gave the world's second excuse. She said, the serpent beguiled me. What were you talking to him for anyway? You're not supposed to be having conversations with serpents. That's illicit conversation. I'm going to leave it alone. She said, and I did eat. Brothers and sisters, look, excuses negate responsibility. And it is responsibility that separates man from the rest of the animal kingdom. Listen, if we are going to take credit for our successes, we must also assume responsibility for our failures. Excuses are harmful because they prevent you and I from succeeding. I often tell young adults, you can always find an excuse not to do what you ought to do. And when individuals make excuses and repeat them often enough, they become beliefs. You then begin to believe your excuse. Then what happens then? That belief becomes a self-fulfilled prophecy. Excuses are like stop signs. They stop progress. And they block our blessings. Wait a minute. I just heard something. Winning is in the atmosphere. Can I get 3 or 4 people that understand what I'm saying, that there's winning in the atmosphere? Wait a minute. I'm talking to people that have gone through changes on your job, layoffs. I'm talking to people that have been in a little struggle. Oh, come on. I want you to go to 3 or 4 people and say, neighbor, I don't have no sad story to tell you. Winning is in the atmosphere. Circumstances may be bad, but when circumstances are at the worst, tell somebody God is at his best. We are experiencing some things now that we've never seen before. On the downside, the economic crisis. And I'm concerned about people that read their Bible and study their Bible, but who are also always preoccupied with and concentrating on the downside. Always noting how bad it is. The dead end is only a bend in the road. You got to keep walking. Come on, somebody. I don't believe you ought to look down, because if you continue, you're going to run into somebody. But I'm always encouraged to look up. On the upside, David said, I will lift up unto the hills. The question is, from whence cometh my help? Is it from, I'm going to leave y'all alone. Mr. Boehner, Miss Pelosi? Is it the congressman, the senator? Who is your help coming from? The Lord. And then I just heard somebody on the bleachers saying, the Lord's strong. Don't you get nothing started up in here. He made heaven and earth. So tell somebody, look on the upside. One of the questions that we ought to be asking ourselves is, how can I effectively communicate with my family and friends? Communication is a big problem for some. We want revelation on our knees praying, but when we get up, we don't want to talk. Because we want to tell the Lord all about it when we need to go to somebody and apologize. Stop leaving people in the hands of the Lord and communicate. Does that make any sense? No more excuses for ineffective communication. You have to learn. I'm learning, and I've been learning, and will always learn to be a good listener. Communication with God and man is on the upside. Dismissing superficial pride. I don't know everything. Becoming teachable. A teachable spirit again. No more excuses for me walking in here with an ego and I go. Thinking that I know everything and can't nobody tell me anything. Am I talking to somebody? Know that the favor of God on the upside is upon you. And when God created you, he did something before you put your Mac on, your Old Spice, and your Brute, Noxzema, and whatever else, Proactive. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I look wonderful. And look back at them and say, do you? I do. Laziness and being sorry. No such thing as God creating a sorry man or a sorry woman. On the upside, no more excuses for acting as if you have arrived because you got a closet full of Prada and Gucci and don't know how to speak the king's language. I would spend my money on going back to school and let people talk about my turned over shoes, because it's going to get greater later. There's always a shoemaker You got to come to a point in your life where it doesn't matter now. I've got past the bling. Whether I have it on or I don't, I'm somebody. I can get that stuff anytime, but I can't always take advantage of another course so I can learn how to navigate in this man's world. Stop believing the hype that you're too old to go back. You're only old as you feel. Don't nobody want no sorry spirit around them. A lady came to me and said, "You're such a prophet. Why don't you pray that God give me a husband?" I said, "I don't have to pray that. All you got to do is look in the mirror." Now, young lady with the white, come here. You got your hands clasped. I want you to run down that aisle because God said, "I'm handling the paperwork." God said, "I'm handling the legal thing." God said, "I'm handling the court." Somebody ought to help her dance. She knows I don't know her. You're just the praise away from it. And not only, wait a minute, not only is he going to bless you, but the Lord said when she put her arms around you, God touched a family member. Somebody. Woo! Yes, sir. Wave your hand and say it's already done. When you started dancing, God began to touch a fella. God began to touch a boy right now. Somebody help her. Get to everybody, but I want you to know, everyone that's on an aisle right now, you're on the millionaire road, or you ought to start dancing for it. Somebody's house is about to get paid off. Young man right here, I want you to know that God is handling the job status right now. Now start running. Just start running. Start running. Somebody run with him. It's already done. Young lady, the Lord said that he's about to bless your life. You're on the brink of something academic right now. God, wait a minute. He said, "I'm paying for all the schooling."